Today, we are venturing into Reddit, the Saints subreddit, see what the Saints subreddit thought about the game. We are in the week 1 post-game thread, Cardinals at Saints. All right, here we go. I thought the defense looked great, and the offense had some good moments. Kind of a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think I would say both had good moments. I wouldn't say the defense was great. I think they were great at times. They were certainly great on the last drive. They had 5 sacks, which was really good. I think they did a good job against James Conner. They held McBride kind of in check in the second half. There was some stuff that got away from them. Third downs were obviously a huge problem. Especially 3rd and 10s. The Marvin Harrison Kool-Aid matchup early on was a nightmare. Trey McBride early on was a nightmare. A couple of big plays, but I think overall they were good, had good moments is how I would explain it. Offense, same thing. They had some good moments, but not enough good moments. And everything, it was very kind of contained offensively. It was very much like, all right, we're going to have to matriculate. This is exactly how I explained it at the game, but it felt like we were running the offense you would run in your first season in NCAA College Football 26, where you have like Kent State or Army, or you have a team that's not very good. It's like, well, all I can really do here is run this very basic level of plays of screens and draws and, halfback screens and a wide receiver screen, then wide receiver slants, then curls, then another draw. Then like you're not really extending it's not like you're not extending the playbook, but you're not pushing the ball downfield. And that's what it felt like with the Saints offense. Let's see. Falcons lost, so I'm good. This is going to be a season where I pull harder for the Falcons to lose and the Saints to win. It is interesting. I thought this was the year the Panthers and the Falcons were supposed to turn everything around. Maybe that's next year? I can't remember. Rattler might make it to his 3rd year and 2nd team in the NFL before he wins a game. It is crazy. I don't put too much stock in that right now, but at a certain point, it is going to be a talking point. Like if he... And that's the bad thing about the schedule is that you really kind of have to win one of these 2 games because the road game in Seattle and the road game in Buffalo is so difficult. Those are not that's not an easy situation. So, and that's more of just a travel spot, less about like Seattle itself, but just a travel spot and all that. But you want to see Rattler get one for sure. This game, he's the quarterback. It's the NFL, but I certainly would not put this game on Spencer Rattler. It's like why we lost or anything like that. I thought he played okay. I wouldn't say he played like an MVP, but he didn't go out there and lose the game. Chris Olave cannot keep playing Saints football. He's generally going to be, it's crazy. Like I think at a certain point, this kind of goes with 2-2, but I'm surprised that they haven't made a rule where after you get a certain amount of concussions, you have to wear the Guardian cap or something like that. Because seeing him get hit on that screen was it was certainly a scary moment. Let's see. Anyone have a video of the late 4th quarter overturned catch? The Olave catch. That was crazy. Didn't look like the ball moved at all. Didn't look like I thought, and very rarely do I get a review wrong, but I thought in real time, I'm watching on like the Jumbotron, so I don't have all the angles here, but I didn't think there was any way they'd overturn it. I thought because it was called a catch, it was just going to remain a catch. I was really surprised that they could overturn it. There has to be an angle that I didn't see where the ball, because it does come down and it hits the ground. But what it looks like to me is that the ball never moved, which that's fine. Like the ball can touch the ground as long as the ground isn't impacting the ball. But I don't know. Maybe there's an angle where the ball's moving around or something. But Rattler's grit towards the end of the game makes me comfortable with the probability that he's going to start at least half the season. Effort is all we can ask for in this situation. Growing pains for he and Kellen alike. We all knew that the season was going to be, it was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster ride for sure. And Rattler, same thing in the preseason, like those drives where backs against the wall, and he even did this during the game, like the drive that we scored. Some of it's very chaotic and a lot's happening, but he seems to be fine. Like he seems to be cool during the fire. He seems to be cool on 4th and 1. He seems to be fine, when all hell's breaking loose around him. So, he's a gamer for sure. Rattler's a fighter, that's for sure. That's what I just said. We took the L, but I'm happy the relentlessness of the team. We didn't hang it up and kept pushing until the end. Haters are welcome. Been a fan long in the sun, been alive, and I'm not saying he's got his gold jacket lined up, but calm down. Yeah, I agree with all that. Yeah, I think it is kind of interesting. I talked about this a little bit in my like immediate reaction video, but I was kind of surprised at just how immediate people gave up on the game. I mean, like in today's NFL, being down 10 with 8 minutes left or whatever is pretty manageable. Like, you get a stop here, get a score here. Like, we're okay. You're kind of rocking and rolling. You know, if you're down, whatever, 3 scores or something, you know, fine. But I was really surprised at, and not just on Twitter, but like in the dome, people were leaving. People were like getting up and leaving with like 8-9 minutes left in a 10-point game. I was really surprised because I'm thinking, man, when you get a stop here, I mean, you get a turnover, or you score all of a sudden, 1-possession game. And then it plays out like where I had some tweets I saw during the game where people were like, don't worry, we'll get better. GG, you know, like, don't worry, we'll get better, but good game, Carolina or Arizona, whatever. And I'm thinking, we got the ball. Like, we can win. We have the ball with 2 minutes left. You know, like I saw some like, you know, on to next week, whatever. It's like, guys, it's a 2-minute drill. We have a 2-minute drive here with a chance to win the game. If we score, we'll probably go for 2. You know, I mean, it's not like you're down 40. If we're down 35-0 at that point, you know, what, even if it had been like the Panthers game where it's 24-6 or whatever, you know, I can see people being like, I'm leaving, or the doom and gloom. But I was really surprised because you're a 6.5-point dog at home and you've got the ball. You get a stop to get the ball with 2 minutes left and a chance to win the game at home. I mean, you know, that's just, it's kind of, I was kind of surprised at the sentiment, especially in week 1. You know, if it's week 12 and we're, you know, a 2-win team at that point, yeah, I mean, at that point, a 2-minute drive to win the game is kind of whatever. But in week 1, game 1, day 1, 2-minute drive to win the game, you know, let me stock the wine cabinet. Less delayed handoffs to the running backs up the middle, please. Yeah, you always wonder, especially early on, like with a new system, new coach, all that stuff, but you wonder like what's going to be, you know, what's going to be scrapped. Like, there's a lot of running plays, especially running plays, where you'll see them and you can kind of tell, like, I didn't like that. And then there's some running plays where it's like, oh, damn, that was sweet. Like a lot of like the Kendra Miller draws, stuff like that, looked like they worked really well. The pitch to Alvin with Stoll coming around on the end, playing as like a lead blocker, that was a good one. But there's some stuff where I would think he's going to throw out. Like there's probably some running plays where it's like, all right, this isn't going to work, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what we do moving forward in the run game. Like which running plays are going to be a thing. The tush push was interesting. So we've thought about it or talked about it much of the preseason if the tush push would be integrated, and it was. You know, it was integrated, and I thought they ran it well, except for the false start, which I remember one year they tried to do that to Philly, where they were really monitoring Philly's offensive line. This was like a soft way to kind of slow down the tush push, is they told referees really monitor them for false starts and really monitor that. And I remember they got like 4 or 5 penalties all of a sudden, and then it kind of corrected itself. But I thought overall the tush push looked okay. I was surprised they ran it because Rattler's not like who I would think of to run the tush push. But I thought it looked okay. I wouldn't scrap the tush push. But yeah, I mean, it is, you know, some of the running plays, some of the handoffs are absolutely get scrapped. How did Kelvin Banks look? A lot of penalties on the offensive line, but a lot on the guards. Yeah, a lot of stuff with the guards for sure. We'll look at the Pro Football Focus grades and all that stuff whenever they come out this week to see what they grade him out as. What happened here? I think Rattler had a good game, not great or amazing, but good enough to win. Definitely seemed like a team with a first-time head coach, tons of sloppy mistakes. Yeah, agreed. Huge void at cornerback showed. Kool-Aid just seems to struggle whenever he's asked to like match up and like run around with somebody. He seems to be fine until he gets caught in like crossing routes, or he gets caught where like in the red zone. He always seems to be trailing a wide receiver or whatever, and that's kind of what happened with Marvin Harrison. So I don't know if it's a huge void, but he's definitely not, at least not now. He's definitely not a put him on your number one wide receiver and shut him down. Refs making some questionable. Yeah, and the refs show was crazy. I mean, 13 penalties, some of them you got to call, like false starts and stuff like that. But the Kool-Aid defensive pass interference I thought was egregious. So, I mean, I thought there could have certainly been some penalties on Arizona, especially in the secondary. See, Juwan dropped a touchdown, yeah. Groupie missed a chip shot, yeah. The Groupie miss, when's the last time he missed a field goal within 40 yards? I mean, it's just like when he missed that, I was sitting there thinking, of course, man. Like, what can go wrong? Like, everything's going wrong in this game. We're scratching and clawing. And yeah, I mean, all that changes the game like that. Where Groupie makes that field goal, when we kick the second field goal or his next field goal, we don't kick that. We go for it, and you never know. You might not get it, but you might, and then all of a sudden you're winning the game. Like, who knows? So. Yeah, that was brutal to watch, especially for someone who's been so good. Like, Groupie's just been so good. I mean, last year he was incredible too. So you hate to see him start off like that, but it is what it is. This fan base has completely forgotten what it's like to have a young quarterback, and it shows. Rattler's in his 7th start, first in a new system. Will he pan out? I don't know. Probably not. He played fine today. Yeah, that's fine. The consensus worst team in the NFL was a drop away from going to overtime with the middle of the road team in week 1. Yeah, I mean, 100%. You got to remember, this is a team that we have been told over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that they are the worst team in the NFL, and they are barely even an NFL roster, and they are, we've heard everything a million times, and they won the box score. Like, they won, they played fine. Like, overall, they didn't play any better or any worse than Arizona, and they deserved to win the game just as much as Arizona. So. It's football sometimes, and 50-50 games are exactly that, and they come down to those kind of things. But when I'm looking at this team, and then I look at like Miami's performance, and I see Carolina's performance, and I see some of these other teams. I mean, even like Tennessee, I know they're playing at Denver, but even Tennessee's offense and just some of their play calling and some of that with them, even Cleveland, like. I mean, Cincinnati had 7 yards in the second half and won the game. So I think exactly what we said the entire offseason. Like, this team is not the worst team. This team is not a team that should be playing in the SEC. Like, this is a team that can be relevant, a team that can compete. They competed in this game, and I would assume they're only going to get better. They're only going to get better as this team grows and learns and matures, and the system gets more integrated, and the system becomes more familiar, and all of that. So I think from after week 1, it would be surprising to me if the Saints remain as the 32nd power ranked team. Let's see. I don't see how you overturn that catch. Yeah, the Olave one, agreed. Not a great game from Kellen, but it's week 1, so whatever. I thought the timeouts were bad, no doubt. I thought the play calling was really good. I liked what we were doing as far as like mixing up, the screens and the intermediate stuff, and how we were getting the ball to our key guys, whether it was Olave or whoever. Like, I actually thought Kellen called a pretty good game. I thought Staley called a fine game. I thought the play calling was pretty solid. Not good, but not the reason we lost. Penalties killed us. So did some stupid plays. Johnson dropping that touchdown pass. All in all, this wasn't the worst showing from a team that many predicted to be 32. True. Our defense played great even without Chase Young. Our running backs were good, and we showed potential in some areas. It's going to be a long season, but I don't think we'll be 32. Anyone who watched the Panthers game will know we'll be 31 at worst. Yeah, I mean, Bryce Young looked atrocious for Carolina today. The Falcons still choked. Bryce Young looked atrocious. It's amazing how quickly people wanted to anoint Bryce Young as figuring things out after 2 good games in 2 seasons, right? And then the Falcons, don't forget, Michael Penix has only won 1 game in his career. Michael Penix hasn't won 5 games or something. Like him, the difference between Michael Penix and Rattler as far as the win-losses is 1. And, he played, it was against the Giants last year. He played Carolina, the Giants, and the Commanders, and then he plays Tampa. So he's, people forget that. Rattler did not almost get Olave killed. The two receivers who didn't block almost got Olave killed. I think we either need to scheme guys open downfield more or get players with yak ability, because for yet another year we can't seem to move the ball. But overall, I thought it was pretty. What I thought was kind of what I thought was kind of surprising was early on in the game, Rattler was asked to do a lot of like progression, reading. He was taking dropbacks, kind of sitting back in the pocket. And I thought it was going to be a bunch of like Rattler getting the ball out of his hands immediately and getting the ball to Olave and Shaheed and just letting them kind of work. And that they really didn't do that until later on. For better or for worse. But I was kind of surprised with that. I think we'll progress with the coaching staff. I remember when we quit against the Bucs last year to get DA fired, they want to play and made some plays. Rattler needs to improve at 40 to 50% to be a serious quarterback who can really win. I feel fine with the coaching staff. I mean, week one, the timeouts is the only blemish where I'm like, man, kind of what are we doing there? But yeah, I think the team fought hard, played hard. I liked a lot of what we had going on. I loved some of the play calling, especially like Staley sending Alante on the blitz at the end there, and some of the wrinkles in the screen game and what Kellen was doing. So yeah, I feel fine with the coaching staff. I feel no different after the first game than I did before the game. People on here were saying Devon Vele was supposed to be a difference maker, big catch wide receiver. Anyone know why the last play was drawn up for Jawan and not Devon Vele? I mean, Jawan in the priority list, like Jawan is supposed to be that guy. Like Jawan is supposed to be the big body wide receiver / tight end who's going to run those seam routes and make that catch. And it is absolutely a difficult catch, but when you pay a guy a contract and you are supposed to come down with that catch, bottom line, like, yeah, it's difficult, but tough. And that's not the easiest catch in the world. You're not going to catch it every single time. And maybe that was one of the, if you throw it to him 10 times and he catches it 7 and drops it 3 times, maybe that was one of the 3, and it is what it is. But yeah, I mean that, I saw a lot of the Devon Vele stuff too. And I want the ball. I've said this last year. I'll say it this year. I want the ball going to my playmakers. I want the ball going to the best players. I don't have a problem with Chris Olave having 13 targets if it means taking targets away from Devon Vele. Like, give the targets to Chris Olave. Give them to Rashid Shaheed. Juwan Johnson had a good game until the drop. Keep feeding him. Fine. Like, I'm fine with that. I don't think the answer of this game was get Devon Vele on the field. I'm not saying that, nothing against Devon Vele, and we also don't know how caught up he is on the play, but we don't know any of that stuff. So I think he will be a factor. I was surprised to see as much Brandon Cooks as we saw, because I thought at some points, like, yeah, get Devon Vele in there, throw fade routes to him, like the Rashid Shaheed go route on 3rd and whatever. That could have been pass interference. It's like, why is that not going to Devon Vele? He's, but I don't know. He might not be caught up to that point of the playbook. Who knows? You say Moore needs to be a better coach, and people act like you have to temper your expectations to a roster filled with. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what this guy's talking about, but this is the kind of like narrative thing that I'm talking about. Like, the roster is. I didn't think there was a roster issue today. Like, I don't think. Last year, it was very easy to say, well, the problem is that we are asking players to play so far above their head. We're asking practice squad players and whatever level players to be big-time players. I did not feel like this roster was lesser than the Cardinals. I mean, let me know in the comments below what y'all thought, but I didn't. At no point during this game was I like, man, we just can't keep up with, whatever. Their players or our players just aren't on the same level. I felt that a lot last year. Like, I felt that a lot whenever it was like our wide receiver group of Cedric Wilson and Dante Pettis and Kevin Austin running around in Green Bay. It's like, okay. Or Jordan Mims just trying to get 3 yards to carry. I never, ever felt like that in this game. I never felt like, we were completely outclassed as just from a roster level. This game was always going to be a barometer for the rest of the season, given the Cards being squarely middle of the pack. The fact that we could have been driving to win. If Groupie hadn't missed a field goal, it gives me more hope than I thought. We should probably win against bad teams, have a chance against decent teams, and lose to good teams. I think 5 wins is plausible, and I think we'll finish with the Panthers. I mean, look, a lot of that's true. If this is a barometer and the Cardinals are a middle of the road to potential playoff team, then this should make you feel fine. Where the Saints had 13 turnovers. 13 penalties. 13 turnovers would be a lot. But 13 penalties, they missed a field goal, like all the stuff that, they had to kind of deal with. And yeah, it's all self-inflicted. But the fact that all that happens in the game one of the first year of so many young players and a new system and all that stuff, and you got a chance to win the game at the end, yeah, I think that does show that. Because if you think about our schedule, that means that we should beat the Jets, the Giants, the bad teams. Like, we should be able to beat those teams. And it does mean that we should be able to hang with and possibly beat some of the good teams. And then where do you put Atlanta? Where do you put Carolina? Because we play them twice. So, right now, wouldn't you have the Saints power rate higher than Carolina? All right, and you look at the rest of the schedule, and there's certainly some winnable games. And we are not asking this team to go win 10, 11, 12 games. This is a team that we were told could possibly be tanking for Arch Manning. This is a team that was possibly going 0-17, right? So, the fact that it's like, yeah, okay, they had a drop pass in the end zone away from winning it against a pretty decent team. Played all right. I feel pretty good about playing the Titans. I feel pretty good about playing the Patriots. We'll see how the Bears play on Monday night. I feel pretty good about playing some of these teams. All that. I'm not coming out of this game with a lower power rated mentality for the Saints. I'll tell you that. Jerseys looked like garbage. Coaches really didn't have the team ready to play. However, Rattler looked better than last year. Olave survived when we were in the game late, despite missing key players on both sides of the ball. I've upped my win forecast to 4 games. There you go. Spencer Rattler is 0-7. There you go. True. I didn't get to watch a lot of the game, but Spencer apparently had a good game. He was all right. Yeah. He was all right. Let's see. My analysis: fix the flags, get a new clutch tight end. Just filter by clutch rating, I guess. Rest is solid. I'm giddy as hell. Did y'all see how good our offensive line was? And also 7 sacks. We had 5 sacks. 7 sacks. Rattler looked composed. Receivers looked fast. Johnson always fails in the winning play. That's the only consistent thing. We need to replace him. Play calling both sides of the ball were great, even running out the time in the first half. Y'all don't understand this, but when you don't call a timeout at the end, it forces the other team to call one, or the time runs out. It puts pressure on them. It didn't work out this time, though, but good call by the rookie genius coach. I don't think that's once they got that first down. I don't think that's what was going on there. Let's see. Play like backyard pickup. No sense of identity. Not saying it will get better, but I didn't see that at all. I thought the offense was very buttoned up. I think it was the opposite of backyard pickup. Backyard pickup would be just kind of calling it at the line of scrimmage and just who knows what's going on. But I thought it was very systematic. I thought it was very this is what we're trying to do. This is the plan. This is how we're running the ball. These are the kind of routes we're so I actually thought the offense did have a bit of an identity. Not as bad as I thought. We were an easy field goal and an easy DPI from a possible win. We have some inexperienced players. Defense is much more alive than last year. Yeah, that's true. The defense, that's something else that people are kind of forgetting. But a big question was, can we stop the run? Right? I thought they were great against the run. They gave up that big 50-yard run to Benson, but besides that, they kept James Conner in check. He was under 4 yards a carry. You give up, and even that play, which is why, and that's such a good indicator of how this game went. We had that play blown up. We had that play blown up in the backfield, and didn't make the tackle, and he just kind of got around the seam. But they did not run the ball very well at all, as far as especially compared to last year. So that's a positive as well. I'm actually encouraged after this game. There you go. We look better than I expected. True. Unacceptable coaching in the first half. I think the timeouts are going to get a lot of the I think that's going to get a lot of the headlines, but I don't think it was a good decision, but I don't think it's like if y'all just watched the Denver game, Sean Payton went for it on 4th and 8 or whatever instead of kicking like a 53-yard field goal to ice the game. Like I think that decision is way worse than this. So it's one of those things where it's like I'm sure there's reasons, I'm sure there's both sides of the coin. I would have kicked the field goal. I would have called the timeout, but it's all things considered, I'm more impressed, and I didn't start. Let's see, what an ending! It was a hell of a game. What's up with this sub? Always been obsessed with wanting shitty quarterbacks to be the starter. We win this game with Carr at quarterback. Damn, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to see we win this game with Derek Carr. All right. This defense is going to get them a top 10 pick. I thought the defense was fine. Yeah, I thought the defense was okay. It's always that's why I like reading this. It's so interesting to see a comment that's like defense was incredible, and the next one's like this team's going to go 0-17 because of this defense. All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting. Okay. Let me know what you think. Comment below. I'll see you in the next video.